welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
I'm Kyle. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm good.
Doing better than you were last time, huh? It was a one-woman show last time, and
And congratulations to you. And by the way, I'm
it
having
wasn't the greatest thing ever. I tried, but I definitely do better with banter.
no, we were having a little off-camera humor about that before we recorded, and that's why I was chuckling. Yeah, we're still fine now about my knee. Hopefully it's okay. I will be in the press box tomorrow, so
If you listen to my my one-woman show and whatnot, thanks.
it was really good.
Oh, thanks. I'm just hard on myself.
I think we're all hard on each other. But anyway, on today's show, we're gonna recap the week that was for the Union, and you know,
Been a busy week.
and we got a busy week coming up. Two more games,
Hmm.
but we're gonna talk about the Union draw, but they went on penalties and they advanced to the U.S. Open Cup round 16. We're gonna talk about the heartbreaking draw against the Columbus Crew,
Yep.
but
And Union 2 won against Crew 2.
the Capybaras.
Yes.
Yeah,
So there was a regular win.
there was some wins, and Andrew Wick, Andrew Rick could have done the greatest thing
Oh
ever.
my gosh, so close to that.
Beating a USL team, beating an MLS team, and he had the
And he beat
win
it
against
an ex-pro team.
Chattanooga.
Yeah, so quite the week. I mean,
Yeah,
featuring and all those things anyway. So and he was good. So we'll
yeah.
get into all that and more here on our latest edition of the One Team We Agree On. Um and yeah, so let's kick it off.
What we're wearing today,
I am wearing a classic, the Lightning Bolt kit.
and
Yes,
I'm wearing. I will burn this place down.
classic.
It was,
Yeah.
but anyway, before we get started, where can people find us?
So you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. We also have our website, theoneteamweagreeon.com, where we've been putting lots of articles, preview articles, um, you know, the recap articles and other things as well to check out. So, and thank you to everyone who's been subscribing and following and, um, liking, commenting, all that. We really appreciate it. You can find us on our YouTube channel as well. We are on Twitter and Blue Sky at TOTWAG. We are on Facebook and Instagram at the One Team We Agree On. Individually, I'm on Twitter and I refuse to call it X. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at silly double underscore Jilly. Okay, it's from a childhood nickname. Um, and I am at Jillian Almany on Blue Sky. Um, and you, Kyle, are at Coach Almany on all of those things.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. Union advanced to the round of 16 in the US Open Cup over Indy 11.
Yep.
Just a few notes. Davi Vasquez and Kevin Sullivan got their first start for the first team. What'd you think of their performance? Now, you were there in the stands.
Yes, and
I
you were
was
not there.
recording
Mhm.
live at home. I was watching the game at home on a couch.
Yes. So, first of all, of course, as expected, the crowd wasn't huge. I feel like a lot of people that were invested in the Union being in the Open Cup were there. People,
Mm,
put their money where their mouth was there. So there were a
did
lot of
they
the,
though?
well, listen, there was a good amount of people in the River End for Sons of Ben. The
There
people
were.
that you would expect would be there were. You're not going to get all the casuals and whatnot. And it's tough. People say, "Oh, well, it's a weeknight. It's a weeknight." I get that too. But it it'll be interesting. With them playing the Riverhounds next. First of all, that's a great like, hey, you get a cross state thing,
For the
you know.
first time ever.
Yeah, and I think, you might see more opposing team fans. To their credit, Indy 11 had a few fans there that
Yeah, they
traveled.
did.
So, I feel like they might have had more fans there than the Crew. I was surprised there weren't as many for Columbus Crew, but well, no, they definitely had a few more there, but still. But credit to Indy 11's fans for making that trip. I feel like Riverhounds might bring in some more fans because that's not quite as far of a trip.
And we
So,
saw them in Las Vegas.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. So, anyway, I thought so I thought for what it was worth, I mean it was not a huge crowd. It was okay. And it definitely, of course, got very exciting towards the end. So they brought it, but that was the quickest I've ever gotten out from, leaving pretty much right away. So,
Yeah.
anyway, but as far as the game, I thought, um, it was great to see David Vasquez finally make an appearance with the first team, even if
Mhm.
it's the U.S. Open Cup. That was great. I thought he did a real solid job.
I thought he did too. Like, I liked his playmaking ability. We have seen his playmaking ability
Oh,
with
absolutely.
his creation, his dribbling, everything. Defensively, I mean, he got cooked a couple
He's
times.
learning.
He's learning.
Yeah, he
But,
mhm,
and it was brought up today in the presser, you know, there is a potential for him to come in late
mhm.
when the Union are up to give Kai and even we'll talk about this in a little bit
Yeah.
because Bradley brought up about Isaiah LaFleur, and we'll talk about
Yeah.
that during the Union
The
too.
fact that Vasquez played left back in that game because he's
Yeah,
normally midfield. So
I thought he was solid.
I thought he was. I mean, here's another option. And they really are trying to make some of these players versatile and give them different things. We know Nate Harriel can play a bunch of things. We know
Yeah,
Frankie can play a bunch of things. So you have that versatility there. And that's where isn't that when we got the quote about Chris Donovan could go back and play center back in a pinch?
and Jim had said before Olivier Bazou could play center back, which I never ever.
I don't know if we ever want to see that.
I'd rather see Donovan.
I'd rather see Donovan play center back over Bizo, probably
Sorry,
too.
Bazou,
Sorry. But
but in all honesty, that does go to show the versatility.
yes.
Like, I think it's a fair point. Jokes aside, like you are seeing those progressions, these players standing out.
Hmm.
Now, how does that equate to the MLS? I mean,
Yeah.
time will see, but as Marlon said, you don't know unless you know.
Yeah, and yeah, until you put them in there and they try. So,
Yeah,
also Cavan made his first start for the first team. Again, it was something kind of I expected to see.
yeah,
And he played limited minutes. Some of these guys got pulled, played limited minutes in the game at Chattanooga. So that was to be
but
expected.
Kevin paid 120.
Cavan played the entire 120 as the game went through the two extra time halves. And then he didn't get to take a penalty kick. The big joke too around the stands was are we running into the child labor law issues? It's past, and you kept hearing it's past Cavan's bedtime. Oh, I have some great videos of I had put it on my Twitter about people in the stands in 136. They're saying like you could hear in the background, oh, it's before Jovan's kick, I think.
Yeah,
And when there's a little tussle there,
yeah,
and you hear some people in the section saying, it's past my bedtime. Be like, you know, we want to go. We're old here. We're older than you. We want to go home. And
yeah,
stuff like that. It was really funny. It was funny because, and not to get too far ahead of things, but on that note, when it came to the penalty kicks, people booked it to the other side, from the river end to
yeah.
get to the goal. But you look around, and it's a lot of people like 30s, 40s, up and up around, and we're like, now we're too old for that. We'll cheer
Well,
from over here. I'm
I
I'm too
mean,
old to move. That's what some of the people are
I
saying.
remember Ed posting like, "What are the people in the river end doing?" Our friend Ed Fagan, and
Mhm.
he was like, "What are you people doing?" I said, "Well, ask Jillian. She's over there." And you're like, "I'm too old to move."
That was me quoting someone else that said that.
Oh, okay.
I, for one, am not too old to move. I thought about it, but then like my seat neighbors were they're not moving. Everyone just like staying there. I'm like, yeah, like we're just gonna stay here.
No,
But
I
yeah,
thought from the broadcast, it was great.
yeah,
It was great that those people that were on the river end,
yeah,
and even behind the opposite side,
yeah,
and they brought the noise. It was great.
yeah. So getting back to Cavan, I mean, he doesn't even usually play the full 90 with Union 2. He usually gets
Yeah, you
subbed
should
out
get
60th
60th,
minute or
70th.
something. Yeah. So for him to go. 120 in this. I mean, that was impressive. I thought he held his own. Does he get bodied sometimes?
Sure.
Sure.
I mean, even
But
Cornell said, like, first 45, he was great. I would say he was trying to shoot too much. You could create here and there, but
yeah.
you don't hate that. Like,
No, I
he's hit some bangers
he
before we
has.
have.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Second half, yeah,
Yeah, so but of course when Cavan got announced starting, of course everyone's like, ah. So I have the whole like intro on there. But that's cool moment for him. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, with someone who's old enough to be his dad, Alejandro Bedoya, God love him,
he
38 now.
returns to the starting position.
Yeah, he started and he was captain.
I thought that was a
And
nice moment.
he played 120 as well,
Yeah,
which things you did not expect, but good for Ali.
and he scored the goal.
He scored. Like, as someone who is near him in age, I have so much respect. So much. No, it was great to see. And honestly, he's still for what it's worth, he's really, really fit.
No, so my whole thing with Ali's performance on the night, I thought he was fine. Like, you can bring him on those 20 men against MLS teams,
Mm-hmm.
and as the union progress, this is a perfect opportunity for Ali.
Mm-hmm.
He has the experience. He has all those years of experience.
Yep.
I would argue he's still as good as most USL teams. And as we progress through his tournament, yeah, maybe his role diminishes, but he was creating chances.
He
He
was.
was doing a lot of things that Jim Curtin always praised him for,
Mm-hmm.
and Cornell praised his performance. So there's still that opportunity for Ale, and we've seen the skill to go out on a high note.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether that's the MLS Cup, probably not, but hey, you win the US Open Cup, Cap America comes back, and hey, that would be the perfect swan song, like the bookend to his career. He wins the US Open Cup,
Mm-hmm.
goes out on a high note,
I would love
everybody's
that for
happy.
him. I would
I
love
would
that for him.
too, but we still got a lot of matches to
We
play
do.
with
We
that.
do.
But
Yeah.
so yeah, he gives up. I even said you need to score coming out of this half. Unfortunately, India 11's score,
Yep.
and here everybody's like, ooh. And then
Their keeper was good. I have to give
yeah,
him
oh
credit.
oh
Indy
dude,
11's keeper played out of his
I
mind.
thought him and Andrew Rick
Oh
kept
yeah.
both teams in the match. And I want to talk about that for a second because Andrew Rick's performance,
Mm-hmm.
and you talked about this with Ryan Richter
Yes.
prior to the match against Crew 2
Yes.
about Andrew Rick's performance in the PK. I mean,
Yeah.
he saved that big shot. He made a couple clutch saves on the night.
Yeah. I
And
did.
basically, Ryan said, I think MLS Next Pro Shootouts showcases Andrew's abilities,
Right.
but also we have seen this time and time again. He
Right.
can do that, and we'll
Yeah.
get to him on the match against Columbus about the distribution.
Yeah. But
But
talking about this, yeah, when I talked, because, as we've talked about, Andrew Rick was in a 12-round penalty shootout at Chattanooga.
just literally a
And
couple days ago,
yeah, and he made one of the shots too. So, like,
yeah,
he did it all. And he made three saves in that. So, when and then, of course, he makes a save, and that's all they needed. He made the one save that they needed for the Indy 11 match. But when I talked to Ryan Richter, he said Andrew Rick has basically always been good at, making some saves and coming up through. Like, that's something he's been strong at, and MLS Next Pro really has given him a chance to showcase it. So he's well versed. As soon as it was going to penalty kicks, I'm like, well, Andrew Rick's had some practice at this.
yeah.
So I mean, honestly, if I'm being honest, and no disrespect to Andre Blake, but I kind of feel like if it's PKs, I kind of feel better with Rick.
I mean, it's a fair point. It's like the John McCarthy effect
It is. It is.
because Richter even said like his ability to read the body language
Mm-hmm.
of the shooter
Yeah. And
And
Andrew Rick told me some things about this too
yeah,
himself. Yeah.
and he has. And he even said to me personally, he's picked up some things from Andre.
Yeah.
Andre's been in some big shootouts in his career.
Oh yeah, we'll never forget the Nashville one.
Right. But Andre is a great shot stopper, let's be
Oh yeah.
honest. I mean, he's going to go down as one of the greatest goalkeepers in MLS history.
Yeah.
To learn from him,
Mm-hmm.
to learn from Ross Kane, Phil Weden,
Yeah.
some of the best in the business, and then also has those instincts and that natural ability.
Mm-hmm.
I said to Todd, and we were talking about during the Columbus match, and we'll get to that in a second. I said, I feel really good. Like, this is a Matt Freed situation again.
Yeah.
Now, is he at Matt Freed's level? No, he's not. And people probably be like, he's not Matt Freed. No, he's not. But look at Matt Freed at his level and look at Andrew Rick.
Yeah.
I would say they're 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of similarities. And I mean, Matt was a lot bigger than Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew's still, well, probably done growing, but I mean, it's a good situation for the Union to have right now.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with Jose Nunez in that Andrew needs playing time.
He
Whether
does.
it's USL, whether it is MLS, he
He needs
he's
to
out
stay, he needs to
he,
keep playing regularly.
and not the MLS Next Pro level.
Yeah. But I also want to say I feel like MLS Next Pro is getting better, but it's definitely not, you know,
It's not what he needs at the moment.
yeah, he needs more challenge. So,
It's like us looking at our kids in the developmental level
mhm.
and saying these kids are really good, but going to those meets that we take them to,
Yeah.
they need more.
Yes.
And they don't need the national meets, which is MLS. They need those next step of development, which
Yes.
is USL Pro
Yeah.
or whatever. So anyway,
Yeah. So all in all,
what
I
was your first match experience at US Open Cup?
I had fun. I had fun. And it was, strange going by myself. I mean, I've only done that a couple times, I think. Uh, I've gone for like being in Union 2 press box myself before, and I think I went to a Union match by myself the one time. I want to say it was when they hosted Columbus last year. It might have just been me there. I
Yeah.
forget. Well, anyway, but I will say this. I love the fact that I can go to a Union game and, if I'm solo and I know so many people, I have such great friends there that I'm hanging out with anyway. So that's what I love about this fan base. You know,
Yeah.
I know so many people, 136 and surrounding, like, people are great. And so, yeah, so for this one, I elected to just be in our seats in River End because I wanted to experience the Open Cup from that vantage point. And
You got to see Lamb.
I wanted to bring that up. So, yes, the Lamb made an appearance. Shout out to Jay. So, um, if you want to see the Lamb, it's on my Twitter. Yeah, lamb that's would you
Lamb.
say the lamb and it's stuck on a pole and it came out at halftime, came out the half and it has prior history with the Open Cup.
Let's leave it at that.
Yep. So it's you can go see my pictures on Twitter, okay?
You said that to me. You're like, Lamb's here. I'm like, up, up. And we're talking
Yes,
with
it's
Drew
it's
on
kind of
Saturday. He's
legendary.
like, I'm like,
If
I
you know,
heard.
you know.
If you know, you know.
Yep.
Anyway, so Union win on penalties.
Yeah. Yeah, and let's talk about those. We got to see some guys take PKs at that level we haven't
Yeah,
as well. So we had you had Ty when
yeah,
Ty take one and Indy and Frankie. We've seen Frankie take PKs
yeah.
before. Did Damiani take one? Or no, now I'm forgetting who all took one in that.
Forget.
I forget. Well, I know Jovan made the last one. We'll put it
Yeah,
that way. Yeah, Union made all of their attempts, and Rick, I think, saved the third one, maybe.
yep.
So, in any case, yeah, he's good for saving at least one, and so there you go. And then you have confidence in these guys. And right before Jovan took his kick, there was a little like, you know,
Tussle.
tussle there, a little argue, whatever, and we're like, what's going on? But so he makes it, and that was exciting. So. It was a long night, but at least everyone goes home happy. So there's
Yeah,
that.
and now for their awards, Union will face the final
Mm-hmm.
USL champion team
Mm-hmm.
left, Pittsburgh Riverhounds, the Keystone
Yeah.
Showdown,
Yep.
featuring former Hershey Impact and Hershey Wildcats head coach and Harrisburg Heat legend Bob Lilly,
Mm-hmm.
and former also Mark Pulisic, Christian Pulisic's dad, was the assistant under Bob at the
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh Riverhounds for many years. We are trying to get Bob Lilly on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've reached out to the Riverhounds because I want to talk about that because I went to a few camps back in my
Mm-hmm.
day with Bob. Like I've shared before,
Yeah.
those stories. We saw Bob and Riverhounds play the lights back in what was it, 2022? Yeah, 2022, in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Look, this is a well-coached team. Bob Lilly is a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think the Union should win? Sure.
But they
But
need to like actually not toy around with things at the beginning.
yeah,
I
no,
think they
because
need to come out strong and make a
Bob
statement, and then
Lilly has had a
Mhm.
lot of history in the U.S. Open Cup. I will put you that way. Matt Ralph knows the history, and Matt, if you're listening, you know what Bob Lilly brings. I mean, he is a very, very good USL coach. He's had time in MLS with I know at least with the Vancouver Whitecaps. I want to say it was somebody else, maybe it was the Impact, but he understands MLS. He also understands USL and what the opportunity is, and I'm going to try to get on that press conference as well.
Mhm.
But anyway, so that's for next week.
Yes, and people
Let's,
need to show up. So
yeah,
get on out to Subaru Park, and
it's
this
going
is
to
the
be a
first
fun
time we've
night.
had a Keystone Derby.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a fun time. I'm looking forward to covering this.
Yes, and who
And
doesn't enjoy, going out and beating Pittsburgh, right? So it needs to happen. So yeah, what?
I don't know.
No, I mean, yeah, got to beat the Yinzers.
Wow,
What?
you're going there.
I'm going there.
All right.
Yeah.
Says
French
somebody
fries are stupid on a sandwich anyway.
says somebody that doesn't have any. I mean, this is why we're the one team we're growing. I have no Pittsburgh faithful. And so anyway,
All right. So,
let's
yes.
go on and talk about your sister Kendall Beck's.
Okay. So, yeah. So, we're going to talk about the match versus Columbus Crew on Saturday.
Yeah.
The much anticipated,
Kendall Beck.
okay. So, first of all, hell froze over because my sister Kendall finally came to a union match. Okay, now my brother and his fiance came last year, and I've always been trying to get my sister. Now, my other sister, Sarah, I doubt she'll ever come. But okay, my sister Kendall, my younger sister, she is a huge Eagles fan, Phillies fan. She likes Flyers. She's one of those poo-poos on soccer, though. Even though she played soccer, she was really good. You know what Kendall was like playing soccer? She was like El Brujo, like dirty and got a lot of cards, but was very skillful and,
Yeah, like your dad.
emotional. Oh, my dad. Don't even get me started on my dad. Like, I need to get him to a game, but my dad,
And like me.
my dad told me sort of how he like purposely went and like
Yeah.
tried to like,
Anyway.
F a guy up, playing. But
Anyway.
anyway, but before we get off on a tangent there, this is my sister Kendall in the picture. And so I did get her to wear the correct colors. Okay. And she got to meet our friends, Jose and Todd. And I
I
think
look like I look at that
But
picture.
anyway, before you get ahead of things here, Kyle, so she got to experience the Sons of Ben tailgate and showed her around Union Yards and showed her all the different things. And, she had a good time. And it was a gorgeous day. I'm glad she was able to come on a really nice day. I did fill her in on the whole storyline of Gazdag, making his return and all that. So I was like, these are two of the best teams in the league right now going against each other. So, you've got a great matchup. So, but that was before the match there. And so yeah, she enjoyed the tailgate. She enjoyed went over to Union Yards and saw friends there.
Yeah. And
And yes, she partook,
n-
yeah, in some of the festivities at Sons of Ben Lot. which is fun. Now, um, then we went over to the plaza. I showed her the plaza. She got to see the puppies. She liked seeing the puppies.
All right.
And then we went into the Union store, and it was Military Appreciation Night. They were out of the giveaway, which were some kind of flags or something. They were out of that by the time we went in. But they had these were their military appreciation shirts. They have like a camo in the emblem there. Also, I saw that there were hair clips. That was something new I hadn't seen before. So they had some of those. And then, of course, we were in 136, and um, I got Kendall to wear a scarf, by the way, that season ticket member one from a couple years ago. And she actually, so I was like, this actually will look really cute with your outfit. It's the right colors. And she agreed, actually. So, yeah, so she had a great time. It was nice to have her come.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so they had um, the skydivers come in, the paratroopers, whatever you want to call them. So, um,
All right.
what? Yeah.
No, no, we're trying to keep on schedule
But no,
here.
I was showing that.
All right,
Anyway,
let me show that real quick
yeah.
here.
So,
All right, we'll show the skydiver coming in here. I'm
yeah,
trying to
they had
pull.
that pregame there and just want to share that real quick. So, yeah, they always do that, and that's pretty cool.
All right, and then here's a picture of him landing,
Mm-hmm.
and then also the drum striker.
Yep. They had yeah, drum striker was Gershon Yabusele from the Sixers, Yabu as he's in, and they had all the benches flags out there, so that was cool.
And from my end of the press box, it was really nice to see all the military flags. A couple of us were talking about that in the press box.
Mm-hmm.
That was really nice. But anyway, all right. Um,
So let's get into the game.
yeah, I mean, I thought at the beginning I was in the commissary when they announced Daniel
Oh, you
Gazda.
missed the tribute?
No, I
Oh,
saw the tribute.
okay.
I was there, we were talking, I was talking with some people, and honestly, like when they did that, we all got really quiet just to hear like
Oh, when they were announcing the
where
lineup?
they announced him last,
Yeah.
and the place erupted.
Yeah,
I
as I
figured,
expected. Yeah. Like what happened from my vantage point. Yeah, people were in River End. They did the typical, turn their back and do the double bird kind of thing and say sucks after each one. Except for Daniel. People turned around and they cheered. And the whole
yeah,
stadium cheered, which was
and
good. It's fitting. He does not deserve booze.
no, and honestly, and I'll break this. Walking out of the match, the press conferences and the player interviews,
Hmm.
we were allowed to go into Daniel. I
Hmm.
walked in there because everybody else was either Frankie or Daniel.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, I've talked to Frankie a million times. I wouldn't mind seeing Daniel because I was thinking everybody was still there. Walked in, everybody was there for Daniel, so went back for Frankie because honestly,
Yeah.
if I could get Daniel, I didn't know how many people were there, but
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk to Frankie, which I did. You
Yeah.
can check out the article.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I thought overall that the tribute was really nice.
Yeah, they showed a bunch of clips and everything. Nice little
Yeah,
tribute to
and I
thank him.
thought that, and he applauded,
Yeah.
and that was really nice. I thought so. Just a couple thoughts. I thought early on,
Hmm.
uh, a couple of us up there were saying you look really good, and we talked to
Hmm.
Bradley about they played direct.
Yeah.
They want to get in behind, and that's always got such strength. I thought the Union Rick makes a good save early on Alz Alzer Jackson. Somebody's gonna laugh at me, but there's a nice play there he makes. But for the most part, for the first 20, 30 minutes, I thought the Union were very strong in limiting those in behind balls.
Yeah.
And when they did the defense of Glesses and Harrell on the night, Frankie got cooked a couple times, but even Kai, they were all up there. And it was really good to see that
Yes.
early on. And then again, I want to talk about that first goal right before half.
Yeah.
So maybe it's offsides, maybe it's not. VAR decides not to go and review it.
It was tough to tell from where I was, but
He
yeah.
was off. I think one was off. But let's talk about the distribution of Andrew Rick.
Andrew
Because
Rick.
even before
Mm.
that, there was a couple plays where they were getting called sides because Andrew is so used to playing with like Eddie, Sal, Stas, slower guys, where now you got like Ty,
Hmm.
Bruno her a little faster, even Quinn, who can get up there a little quicker. He's so quick in getting that ball out.
He's so good at his distribution. Ugh.
And and Todd had talked about that last night on his podcast. Shout out to him, and that was a really good
Hmm.
um uh post match podcast.
Yes, go check
Like
it out.
it's just we were talking about that all night. Like just the distribution. Like again, goes back to Andre Blake is a great goalkeeper, and the shots stop.
Yes.
Rick still needs to get there.
Hmm.
He's shown his moments again.
Hmm.
Ross, Phil, but my gosh, his off the ball and just how he plays the ball on his feet, just distributes. Like you've
Between
even,
him and Neil Pierre, like,
well,
my goodness.
but we even
Yeah.
saw last
Oh
year,
yeah.
like Rick, like Marlon would just have him take
Yeah.
the free kicks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's true. I mean, and he's even said that. I know Todd mentioned it that he played defensive midfield coming up,
Hmm.
and you see the skill.
Yeah.
He's quick to read the field, which is what you want from a
Yeah.
goalkeeper.
Absolutely. And so at the end of the day, he got an assist. He got his first assist, the youngest keeper in MLS history to get an assist.
Can we say it was secondary assist?
Yeah, secondary assist, whatever. But it, hey, still that, yeah, it counted. But yeah,
It does. And look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to
it,
crap on secondary assist. I
no,
mean,
but I mean, it was very good. And then to Quinn, and then Ty sends it home. So
yeah, and to that point, you go into half saying, "Okay, you're up 1-0.
yeah.
Keep the pedal to the metal." But you know the coaching of Wilfred Nancy. He's gonna
Hmm.
come out and make adjustments. He's the best coach in MLS.
Yeah.
And we've said this for what, 3 years?
Yeah.
And even Jillian's like, I don't know, it's
We knew it
Jim.
wasn't going to be easy. There was a lot of game left, and you know how it goes with
And
Chelmsford.
so second half, Max Arfston scores a goal right back into it. And
And it's
and
just one of those little goals, like it's like,
but I mean,
yeah,
credit to him, like
yeah,
that was a really nice goal. Like
yeah.
that's the kind of goal where Carnell talks about it. You need to have a little bit of a little presence. They get behind the line, they're played direct.
Hmm.
Our sends it home, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yep,
And then for the rest of the match, Union go into their grind out, try to get a point
yep.
and get a late goal. And there's a play in the box, ball comes over, and I remember this. I said to somebody, the ball
Mm.
goes off the post, like, ooh, and then I said, Frankie. And
Yeah.
I just see Frankie running. I'm like, hit it.
Well, that whole setup, you have Bruno there, and then Ty, kind of on the ground,
Like,
kicking
trust
it.
it.
He like kind of kicks it. He gets it out, and it goes to Frankie, who an absolute missile from, the top of the box there. And where I was watching, it was like, oh, I had such a good view of it. But like, my gosh, that was a screamer. That was like an El Brujo kind of screamer. But the way he just like hit it, it's lucky it went in the goal because that could have taken someone's head off how hard it was hit.
I mean,
And
let
as soon as it hit the net, the river end went nuts.
so let's play that.
Yeah.
Let's play the clip here.
And this is not the after even the initial thing because like, you know, it was even louder before.
Here's it.
Well, since you
All right. It's
hold on.
all right.
And there you get to see the goal again, just saying.
All right.
Well,
But
since you ended it early, I was gonna say it it was cool to hear Kevin Casey get to say, you know, goal
well,
for
I
Frankie.
want to
So
share this.
yeah, like that was cool because seeing him come up through Union 2 and have that
Oh,
success and
that's the
everything,
rain.
and um, That was a really special moment. Um, you know, to see a kid work as hard as he has, local kid, and really work his butt off and take advantage of his chances. And then he gets to, keep starting, and he not only gets in the game, scores a goal like that, and he has
Yeah.
2 assists. You got to be super happy for the kid. Like, he is just really endearing himself to the fan base. You see it. So, could be more happy
Yeah.
for him. And what a goal. And can I say that it was totally, totally a snub that he was not one of the nominees for goal of the week. And to be fair, there were a lot of very good goals. And the
Bicycle was not.
bicycle, even I said, like, I think Frankie should have at least been a nominee. I think probably Moreno's bicycle, should be the winner for sure.
For sure.
But I think it's fair to say Frankie and also Ojeda from Orlando even deserves it. Like, his was good. Like Forsberg's,
Ojeda,
but yeah,
Ojeda was my man match for match day 13.
yeah.
Being an ASR, I voted for him. I don't know how Forsberg. Now,
Forsberg's and
Forsberg
Luna
had
were
a
both were
game.
like
Yeah,
good, but I don't know,
he was my
like,
second choice. I don't know how he got it. Like,
yeah. So, but what a goal! That was awesome, and of course that really got the crowd going. Now it's unfortunate that Union couldn't hold on to that lead,
yeah, I
but
mean, Sean Zazurski, equalizer in the 90 minutes. And, like I wrote in my article, the game, everything went inflated.
uh,
I mean,
Frankie was 1 minute from being man of the match, really, which is
at the
bummer,
end
but
of the day,
it'll come.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
that goal happens. You're like, so Union.
That's exactly what people said earlier.
Yeah,
That's so
but
Union.
we've seen this in 2022. We saw it last year. I mean, we've seen this. It's soccer. Like Carnell
Yeah.
said it best. It's soccer.
But it makes you think, like, will those drop 2 points come back to haunt them? Remember
I,
2022, one
and
point,
it
one
could.
point.
It
Yes.
could. It very well could.
Hopefully it
But
doesn't,
but
but
here's to my point.
yes.
If you would ask any fan prior
Uh,
to this match, and we asked fans, I'd
yeah.
be happy with a 1-1
I
draw,
said that
2-2
prior
draw.
to.
Skylar said I said a 2-2 draw. I mean, we all said
Oh yeah,
we
going
would
into it,
be
you'd be.
happy with a draw. The way the Union were kind of Montreal match could have gone better. You went on PKs against
Mhm.
Indy 11, and then Columbus coming in red hot. You take that. And then after the match, oh my gosh, this is bad. Look, yes, great teams get 3 points.
Mhm.
Great three teams get a point on the road like Columbus did.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. What I'm going to say is that's the first time in 12 games the Union dropped points. I think only Columbus, as Todd said on his podcast, and him and I are working on the whole
Hmm.
drop points thing with MLS this year. I did check it, but it is looking at it now. Yep, Charlotte is the only team that has not dropped points.
Yeah.
So
Well.
you make it through 12 matches. A team that dropped 27 points last year. 27 points. Now,
Yeah.
still plenty of season left.
There is.
That's an improvement.
Yeah.
The fact that the Union are still in third place in 12 matches.
Yep.
If they stay healthy. Now, we know Andre Blake, his whole injury and everything. But if Andrew Rick keeps progressing, still, like I said to Dave Lamb before the match, if they can keep this up, this is a 4 to 5 seed team.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
you can get in there. And at the beginning of the year, people saying 11th, 12th in the East.
Yeah, people are talking wooden spoon,
Yeah, that's
which
ridiculous.
is a little
There's a talent on
ridiculous.
this team. This is a good team.
Yeah.
And I'm going to end it with this, and we're going to go talk about Union 2 because I got nothing more to talk about this match because I got Galaxy coming up tomorrow. There is a lot of hope in Philly. There's a lot of pauses to take. Now, you can take the
Hmm.
criticisms there. You're not getting feedback from, I mean, pushback from us about do they need a center back? Sure.
Hmm.
Do maybe, the striker Ua needs to finish that? Sure. But at the end of the day, this is a good team.
It is.
And there's a lot of hope here. And I hope the fans and even the casual fans are
Mm.
starting to say, you know what? Maybe they don't win the MLS Cup, but it's not as bad as we thought.
Yeah.
And this has come from two people that, again, really, really, really love what we saw in the past.
Yeah.
But it's a new year. And
Yeah.
we gotta take it for what it is. And the Union are a good team right now.
Yes. All right.
Anyway, moving on.
Union 2, they
Union 2 keep winning.
yeah, so on Sunday, Union 2 beat Columbus Crew 2, 3-0 at home on another gorgeous day. It was Mother's Day. It was a gorgeous day. And, it wasn't the biggest crowd or anything, but I think part of it
Would
was
you like
Mother's
to
Day.
share some pictures from that?
Yeah, I got some pictures, but I went down. You did not, but I had it covered.
I
And
was taking care of my mom
yeah,
on Mother's Day.
so there is, just gorgeous day for Mother's Day.
It
Temperature was
was.
great. And so here's them coming out. And so, you had pretty standard Union 2 lineup. We had Oliver Zemlin goal.
Mhm.
And other than that, it was, pretty standard, I'd say. Henry Bernstein got his first start, so good for
And here's
Henry.
some pictures of the
Yeah,
Bridge Brigade.
yep, some of the Bridge Brigade there. And so yeah, we had this was the first time that the squads met this season, and Union 2,
From
they
last year's Eastern Conference Final.
right. So last year, Eastern Conference Final, Union 2 won 4-0 against Crew 2. Now, Crew 2 coming into this were in last place. They're still in last place. So, and
But
yeah,
but they beat
but they beat Chattanooga, the only team
2
to beat
nothing.
Chattanooga,
And
which is
Ryan Richter
interesting,
talked about that
is all
when
the
we talked
matchups.
about him.
Yeah,
And
so
then we followed up with him this week about
right.
that game. And they had one of the best U18 players from the tournament where Kellen, Jameer, and
Chase
Jordan.
Adams. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
So, and Chase had a couple moments
right. Uh Basically Union 2, they really come out pressing. They really were coming out strong. You had starting up top, you had Eddie and Sal this time. And I think, Eddie was pretty hungry. He was looking for that first goal of the season,
and he
and
got it.
he got it. And, so really happy for Eddie on that. It was a nice goal. And before that, Sal scored.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sal scored. He
And
now had
Sal's like one goal off his toe from last
He
year.
had four
So,
goals last year, so now he's up to three, which
which
is
is great.
great. And then, so gosh, the Crew 2 didn't even have hardly any shots. They only had a couple, whereas Union 2 had, oh gosh, like I think almost some 20 some
I
maybe, but
remember
they
the
don't.
guy going, this is like Crew can't do anything. And then like Semla made that play where he almost
Someone made
put
a couple big saves. Yeah.
he did.
He didn't get to do too much for most of the match, but when he
He
did, it
he
was good.
did he did. And again it goes back to is Zemla a USL keeper?
So he did a solid job, gets the clean sheet. And I will say one thing that was noticeable. So Neil Pierre is hurt. Of
Yeah.
course, he had picked up the knee injury. He probably would have played in that U.S. Open Cup against Indy 11. We all knew that was probably, the case because of him being more limited going to but that's a shame. Hopefully he'll get his shot at some point. But you see, I kept seeing that right side getting exposed. Um, you know,
Because Gavin wasn't there.
yeah, because Gavin got, and we had asked Ryan Richter about his options beforehand, and then I asked him about after the match too, what he saw. So he had a few options of what to do in place of Neil. So he moved Gavin Wetzel
Which
over,
is
to
fine.
center back, and then Nick Pariano over to right back. So, again, it was fine, but I did see that side getting a little exposed at times, but they adjusted and they did better as it went. And what?
Who came in for Parion?
Oh, we had Jordan Griffin.
Would you rather see Griffin
I'd
than
like to see him get some chances. He
I
came in late. There was
I would rather see Parion go back to the
because
defensive
it's
mid
more Griffin's natural position.
and then see well, Griffin can play both sides of the field
Yeah.
back. But
On the other side, though, I want to talk about Isaiah LaFleur. because I feel like, he's coming back from being out with injury for so long. That's really tough to come back from.
Would you
And
would you like to hear what Carnell had to say?
yeah, and before he played that, I will say I think that he played pretty well against Chattanooga. He had that bicycle kick off the line and saved a goal from being scored, but he's looking better and better each match. And Carnell was asked about LaFleur today, by
Let's
Jonathan
see. I
Campbell, and I
think
think
this is one.
okay.
I hope this is one, not your one,
Yeah.
because I can't edit.
Yeah, Isaiah's been through two tough injuries, from what I understand, over the last 18 months, right? And that's never easy to come back from. He's doing a great job at Union too. He's playing well. He's getting those minutes he needs to get the sharpness. And, once you get the sharpness back, now you can start getting the edge in terms of how we play. And he's on that borderline of learning exactly the tools, what's needed in certain moments, as an outside back. And yeah, he's on the right track, and we keep on monitoring him. He trains with us very often. So he's part of our group, at least 2-3 days a week, and we get him then to Union 2 to catch those minutes. So yeah, he's under observation, but very close.
Yeah, and he has been looking sharper and sharper because he was getting cooked a bit in the beginning of the season, and then he'd be
Yeah.
like kind of up and down. He'd make some really great plays, and then he'd get cooked sometimes.
Can I be honest? I'd like to say Isaiah LaFleur stay with Union 2 this year.
Yeah.
Give David the opportunity. And if you can't cook it, cut it, cook it, cut it.
Hmm.
You're wow. Um, then bring in Isaiah in.
Yeah, like I said, he has done a quality job, and that's great to see. So, I thought he was real good on there. You know, after playing 120 minutes on Wednesday, you see Cavan come in for, he started the game. That was good. I thought he did a good job. Um,
Jameer Johnson gets his first
so
goal.
yeah, so
He gets his first goal. I
yeah,
mean,
I think I sent you that video too, maybe. But anyway, yeah, Jameer gets his first professional goal. That was first with Union 2. That was great for Jameer. And you also saw if you guys get in that match, Kellen got in and so on. So Stas had brought in. So you had really good solid win there. You really weren't too worried at any point.
no.
It was very one-sided. Union 2 just brought it and we're getting shot after shot. And Marcus Anderson, he was brought in. And Marcus, gosh, he's hungry for a goal. He's battled some injuries here and there. And he wasn't in the last match. And you could see like he's a little snake bit and he hit it off the post and he
Yeah.
had some chances there. I mean, that goal's gonna come. It's coming. But
But here's my thing. This team right now is in tied for what, third place?
or they're like it's like fourth or
Yeah.
whatever, but they're
Yeah.
still the only unbeaten team in next pro.
If they can continue this form,
Hmm.
they can get right back up there.
Yeah.
And even
And
if Chattanooga stays hot, like I'm seeing things that this team is a good team. And I think Union fans, if you haven't been to Union 2 game this year, go check out Union 2 game. And this is not just because we cover the team. There's a lot of good things here, and you're seeing the depth. And you asked Ryan Richter about that.
yes. Yeah, so I asked Ryan about that. He does have a lot of depth to work with, and he said, "Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's a
It's
great
like a kid in a candy shop. He
yeah, it's
can
a great
pull
luxury to have."
everything
And
out.
he's like, whoever's training well that week and
Yep,
everything, they'll get the nod and is what it is and it can change week to week who's available and
yep.
everything. And so it is a good luxury to have. And you have guys that have played with, almost, you have guys like I said, and before kind of interjected, I was going to say Marcus Anderson, he's showing like, you know,
He's getting
he's,
ready.
he's ready. And, um, those goals are going to come. I like his energy. And of course, he gets into like, there's a collision with him and the goalkeeper, one of the crew two defenders late in the game. And I'm like, oh God, no. And Marcus was down in the two players were down, the goalie and the defender. And I'm like, oh no. And Marcus got up though. I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah,
Because poor guys had the worst luck with the injuries. But the goalkeeper for crew two had to leave the game. He had probably a concussion or something. He had to leave. And so they put a new keeper in who got, yeah, he was struggling a little bit there too. So, But thankfully Marcus was okay, it seemed. But anyway, yeah, it was, you know, Ryan Richter was really positive about it, talking about it. And so that was great. He has so much depth to work with there. And it'll be interesting to see because Union 2 play a friendly against Nor'easters
Which
on
you'll be
Friday. I'll be
there.
going Friday at 12 o'clock out in the training complex. And it is open to public. So, if you're not, busy, you should go on out.
Yeah, come show up.
Yeah.
You'll be there covering the match. I
Yeah.
think our friend Jose Nunez will
Yeah.
be there.
And I imagine they'll probably play some of the players that maybe don't get as much time. Who knows?
Would Malik play?
Well, yeah, you never know. He could, or maybe see some of those other players that haven't gotten much time. But,
Yeah,
well, I know Malik, they've been with the MLS Next Flex
yeah,
tournament. They've been doing that, so I don't know.
yeah,
However, it was a clean sheet for Oliver Zemla. I talked to
yeah.
him post match, and I asked him about how it is, he training with Andrew. Like he said, basically they really learn from each other. They play off each other's strengths, and
It was a very positive interview.
it was. So, those clean sheets are important. It was great to see between he had that and Andrew Rick had it at Chattanooga, and
You can tell the frustration on his voice, the disappointment,
sure, I mean
but
yeah,
he's making the best of the situation, folks.
yeah,
And I think as a goalkeeper, you know that if you play well, regardless of the level,
hmm
you're gonna get some opportunities in
yeah, and
interest.
he was
So
glad to basically stay sharp, doing this,
exactly.
getting some playing time.
Because
Just
you never know when Andre's out. God forbid something happens.
yeah,
You gotta stay sharp.
yep,
Anyway, well, that's the week that was for the Union.
lots of
N
stuff.
Now we got Atlanta coming up.
Well,
We'll
we got
have
LA
our DC
Galaxy.
cut tomorrow night.
Yep.
So let's talk about, here again, you have the defending MLS Cup champs coming to Subaru Park.
And boy, have they struggled. And this,
This is a trap game, and Bradley kind of talks on this. Tanwald asked him, like, how is it, you see them, they don't have a win this year. The injury report came out today.
mm-hmm,
Pencil's out, Peck's out. Obviously, Ricky Puig is out.
mm-hmm.
Um,
There is no excuse if the Union don't come away with
but
3 points.
here's what this whole interesting comment where Carnell, and I agree with him. You got to care about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it puts more focus on my group, and what we're practicing and preaching within these four walls, because you can only think to imagine what's going to happen on the other side, or what's going on, and that's when I've preferred to extract myself and just focus on the group here. We have our own mission, we have our own targets, objectives. We are pushing each other every single day, and I've always spoken about regardless of opponent. So I think this is a very similar message, and yeah, we've everyone's talking about trap games and what have you, and for sure that's the potential trap game. And I think we've had more than our fair share of trap games so far this season. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so of course it's a trap game. And then to add to that, Union all time have had
Yeah.
one win against the Galaxy in LA back in 2012, believe it or not. Last time they were in Subaru Park,
Mm-hmm.
Galaxy won 3-1.
Yeah.
Ibrahimovic scored. Um, and as of last year, that game where the Union should have gotten points on the road against Galaxy and they lose 3 to
Mm-hmm.
1. Yeah, it says trap game screamed all over it. But look, at the end of the day, if the Union are who, gosh, I would say we know who they thought they were, we let them off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
If the Union are who we think they are, they need to get 3 points
They do. They do.
because you can't look at Atlanta. Atlanta's struggling too.
But it's
You
going to be on the
want,
road on turf.
you need to get 3 points tomorrow night.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. They need to go take care of
If
business.
you get 1 point, we need to have a discussion because, yeah, I mean, they're not a good team, but you just got blown out 7-0 against Red Bull.
So
and
you know that they're going to be like
hungry.
hungry. So you can't take them lightly.
No,
You
you
need to
can't.
oh gosh, my dad used to say this back when coaching high school swim team, like basically he had a certain saying, I'm not gonna say but he basically said kick them when they're down, you know?
Well, you have to.
Like you got to
You,
kick them when they're down.
and I think that's the one thing that they need to do this
Yeah.
on tomorrow night.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Yep. So we'll be
But
there.
we'll be there.
Yep.
You'll be in the river and I'll be in the press
Yep.
box. We hope to see you. But
And then we're gonna talk about Rafa.
um, we're gonna save that one for the
Save that.
next episode because I'm
Well, yeah, it's true.
we're working on something.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
We
in the
did,
presser today, I asked about Rafa. You can see I posted on Twitter.
yeah.
So,
So
because he's
check
been
it.
getting some chances lately. So we'll see
Yeah,
if
we're
he
about
gets
an
it.
hour in and we want to keep this to an
Yeah.
hour.
But yeah,
So
it'll be interesting to see the lineup. Um,
I would like to see some rotation.
I mean, I think they're gonna have to do some, but because
They're
of
gonna have to.
they
I
have,
think you got
I think with the strikers, you can definitely. I think that rotation's gonna happen. I think, you know, gosh, I don't
I
know
get
about with the defense though. Like
hey,
it,
buckle up. It's gonna be fun.
it's kind of like. I mean,
I'd be fine with Glesson's McCanya.
yeah, I'd be fine with Lessons McKinney. Now, who are you going with at right back?
Uh Raleigh Harrell.
Yeah,
Go Harrell, give Frankie. Hey, maybe you go Harrell, Frankie again. I don't know.
or he'll pull some weird stuff and
No,
put
you know
like
what you could do?
Nate up like at the six
You
or
want to have some
what?
fun?
Yeah,
Go give Kai the night off. Go Frankie,
Frankie can play left back.
McCanya,
Yeah.
Glesson's
Well,
Harrell.
and Kai has that like oblique thing, or whatever going on or whatever.
Yeah.
So I
So
mean,
we'll see.
yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. So
Bonzo at center back.
no, God, no,
I
no,
kid.
no. I hope not.
Here
But
comes Dono.
Dono at center back. Oh gosh, no. But in center back news, it's good to see. I know the Union put a post out that had Jan, probably off to side training. He's back. He's got like the kind of the compression kind of
Yeah.
sock thing or whatever on his like so he's getting there and that's really positive. So
So
yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. So that's it.
this is all for this episode of the One Team We Grew On.
And episode 139, which I think is appropriate considering after Frankie had a heck of a game, number 39.
There you
So
go.
that's it wasn't a dub, but you know,
It's close to it.
it was very close. So yeah, so make sure you check us out on our various socials, check out our website, and subscribe if you hadn't. We do not ask you to pay for it. It is free content. So check it out, and we love hearing from you. Leave us comments, let us know what you think, and we hope to see you at the games.
And until next time, I'm Kyle.
I'm Jillian.
We'll see you at the game.